It's the SFL nights it's the SFL nights with A.J.Striker, with A.J.Striker. It's the SFL nights it's the SFL nights with A.J.Striker, with A.J.Striker. Ashley Jackson about the action. SFL news, come and join with interaction. Whatever happens, happens. Yeah, you will leave with satisfaction. Yeah, tell your team and tell your captain.
All right, SFL Nation, welcome back to SFL Nights with A.J.Striker. Thank you so much for joining me today or tonight or whenever you decided to hit that click button or turn on that radio dial. Really appreciate it, y'all. I have here with me my friend, Mr. Mike St.Green. He was the wide receiver for the Jacksonville Kings, so now he done slid over to the London Knights. So how are you?
Hey, doing great, AJ. Glad to be on with you. It's been a long time since I've been actually on your show. We had you on the halftime studio show, midway through season 16, but it's great to be on your show again after, I'm over a year's time almost.
Listen, you saw last show. It's been like 8 months for
yeah. You know what, AJ, the SFL public can probably only handle Dave every 6 months or so, because man, that was an excellent show. My wine collection is not, nowhere as extensive as Dave's is, and I don't know if I'll be able to provide any wine tips, buttery Chardonnay or favorite bourbon cocktails. I don't know if I'll be able to match anything as far as Dave's wine collection goes.
That's not true. You can actually match him on food. And we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we could probably do a little bit of something in the food category.
Exactly. Yeah. But man, welcome back, Mike. It's been a minute, and I think you shared with me off camera that the last when you were here, first of all, it was all audio, and you actually hadn't even hit the field yet.
Hadn't touched the SFL field at that particular time.
Wow.
So it goes back so far, and I know the what do you want to say, the non-contract model. I mean, now with a lot of new people that's come on board, it's a dinosaur to them. They don't even, you say non-contract, they have no idea what that concept means or what it was at the time. But last time I was on, it was maybe a day or two after I'd signed my non-contract deal to agree to play with Arizona.
That was great. It was great having you on the squad too. You did bring that energy, you did bring the life, and I understand why things actually happened for you since then the way that they have, because of the passion, the drive that you have for the league in itself. We're going to get into all of that. But first, remind everybody and introduce yourself to everybody that has not had a chance to really get to know you. So what is your name, your age, your hometown, interesting facts about yourself, and your favorite NFL team?
Oh wow, you have to get my age too. But anyway, I'm I'm Mike St.Green to the SFL Nation. 55 years old. Hometown is Houston. Favorite NFL team. They're all the Houston Texans, and we are what we are right now. But hey, we'll see what happens. And was I missing anything else in there? Did that cover everything?
Interesting fact about yourself.
Oh, interesting fact about myself. I'm a chef, food truck owner. Looking into some other ventures at the present time, but love food. Passionate about food. Passionate about sports. Passionate about this league, the SFL. Whatever I put my self into, whether it's a hobby or profession, I try to get behind it passionately, and I hope that it comes through in everything that I do.
I haven't tasted your food yet. I've seen it. So if that same quality of passion is what you display when you're cooking, is that you have in the SFL, I know we're gonna be good during the convention.
Well, are you going to be here that Thursday?
I plan to.
Well, hey, if you'll be here, you'll get firsthand knowledge of what's some of the things that I, have to offer and what I'd like to present to the people. And that's really a whole lot of what the idea was born of, my wife and I, Dawn, who will be hosting with me as well. It's just, I know a lot of people are going to be in town, possibly early, and that Thursday. And I just figured, guys are sitting around not doing anything. It'd be a great way just to entertain, show some people some Houston hospitality, get to meet some people at a non-official event, and just, put a hair down, have some fun, have a couple drinks. I think I need to up my, wine count to accommodate Dave Axes, but other than that, we should be just fine. I think we'll be fine food wise. I don't know if I have enough alcohol for Dave Axes. I think Chad Rowland, Johnny Pick. I mean, from where it sounds, these guys can toss them back pretty good. So they're going to put me to the test.
Well, apparently Dave is bringing his own wine.
Yeah, I heard the show.
Case.
Yeah. So he may be covered.
Awesome. So, what is your favorite style of cooking? Is there one? I don't know if genre is what you would call that. What is your favorite style?
Yeah, I know genre would be the correct name, but I guess you would say region or cuisine. Southern comfort, American comfort. That's pretty much the theme of the food truck. But yeah, American comfort would probably fit best. Basically, the passion for cooking came from my mom. If you, at any time of day or night, you would go by this lady's, house, didn't matter who you were, she would ask if you were hungry. And if you said yes, you were going to get something to eat. And I think that's just where that passion was born from and came from, and enjoyment of people enjoying my food more so than me eating my food or just, cooking to want to eat food or whatever. I enjoy the aspect of presenting someone a meal and seeing their joy in eating, said meal or whatever the case may be. So that's where that passion for food and entertaining and seeing, an enjoyment of people comes from.
I definitely can relate to that. I was a manager at one point, and so as part of my management training, I actually had to go behind the line and learn how to cook steaks. I had to learn how to cook a lot of seafood dishes, prepare desserts and things like that. And it is a certain satisfaction that you get once you prepared something correctly, best of your abilities. And when someone takes that first bite and then their eyes light up or their smile comes across their face because you've given them not only the nourishment that they needed, but they've actually enjoyed it too. It is something special about that. So I definitely.
Most definitely.
So what brought you to the league in the first place, Mike? Or who?
Well, no one in particular. I've told this story a few times. People may know this story. Was being a couch potato one night and surfing the channels and looking for something to entertain me on the television, and stumbled across the SFL. What really made me stop and pause on the game presentation was that Houston was playing Houston Hyenas, and they were actually playing your current team, Arizona. And it was Arizona's, if I'm not mistaken, it was Arizona's first game in their league history. And the game presentation, I'm like, oh wow, they're commentating about the game, and this team is in Houston, okay. And as it turned out to be a very entertaining game. Aside from all that, I know Houston, they were up pretty big, and then and I always joke to a certain extent that they were up big, but I'm like, I stuck around just to see if Houston were going to blow the game, because that's what Houston's typically known for, blowing games in different sports around here, in particular football games. But and surprisingly enough, or maybe not so surprising, Arizona came back in that game. And basically you guys almost tied it up, and you lost on a missed 2-point conversion that would have possibly sent it into overtime. But yeah, that got me hooked and wanted me to find out more about the league. And that following week, I researched the heck out of the league and thought it would be something that I could get into. And even then, I think maybe it was only 18 to 20 teams in the league at the time.
Something
But
like that.
I was like, man, whoever's running this thing, they're onto something. I just kind of felt like they were onto something, and man, wow, and here we are now, 24 teams. I mentioned to Cam a couple of weeks ago when we were just talking about some stuff heading into season 17 about how it's cool. This is the first season in many seasons that we had no turnover. We had no, in other words, there's no new teams, but we didn't lose any teams. There's no relocation. We have some 24 established teams, with established rosters, and I think it's going to make for an interesting season. And going in and doing the schedule release show, and I got to preview a lot of the schedules ahead of time. And the first thing that I noticed was it's going to be no easy games for anybody this season. I mean, these teams are established. No one's having a team full of 15, 16 rookies like DC had last season or Portland had the season before. So it's going to be a very interesting season, and the growth from February of 2020 when I first found this thing to now it is amazing, and I'm looking forward to the future of this league.
Absolutely. And it's a lot of good points that you touched on, but when you say there are no easy games, even the teams that didn't do quite well last season, like San Diego, for instance, or like DC, they were the new kids on the block. So of course, even though they had people that were established in the league for a long time, it is different when you own your own team. It is different when you're trying to procure all of the players that you need to make the team what you envision it to be. And I think that since everybody's gotten their feet wet, they're acclimated with the legend settings and things like that, I think that this is going to make some really good football season. I know personally, I'm going to keep my eye on the people that were struggling. So the Sioux Falls, Sioux Falls, the San Diegos, the Queen City, Lycans actually did pretty good. They actually had a pretty decent season. And DC, of course. I'll be just keeping my eye to see what kind of changes did they make or would they make. Because honestly, I wasn't expecting Queen City or Sioux Falls to fall the way they did.
Well, I'll say this about Sioux Falls in particular. Of course, it was a surprise to everyone. They had gone to the championship game 2 consecutive seasons, and then all of a sudden, they didn't look nowhere near the team that they had been, historically, in particular the 2 seasons prior. So as you mentioned them, it's really going to be interesting this season, because this is the first time also in a long time we've seen some significant turnover in Sioux Falls. That roster's changed a little bit. They're going to a 4 wide receiver set this season, so we'll see. Are they going to change philosophy and not be as much of a power running team, and see if maybe they're going to air it out. It's going to be interesting to see for me. So we'll see how Sioux Falls is going to do it. I'll definitely be keeping my eye on them as well as the season progresses.
Yeah, but with Sioux Falls particularly, people knew the grand scheme of things that they were a running team, and if you're not going to expand your playbooks to accommodate, then people are going to run all over you. Hence, Arizona, when we were I think it was like season 14 that we decided to run the ball a little bit more to kind of cut down on my turnover ratios. They were ready for DJ by week 3, maybe week 4. And so when people figure you out, then you got to keep people guessing. So I'm hoping they'll be able to turn things around like that. And it's funny that you should mention that Houston Arizona game, because if I remember correctly, that was Eddie's first time actually owning the team, and he wanted to beat Houston.
Right. That was his whole team, of course. Yeah. Right.
And so you already know what I heard afterwards, but but we've changed significantly since then. But it's a wonder, how come you were not on Houston? Since you what was the mind thinking?
You know what? You'd have to ask Damon that. I have no idea, but I do know this past season and off season in particular. Ethan Kai, he and I are pretty cool. He's Houston's GM. We didn't talk at all, but Houston didn't have room. I mean, they didn't have the cap space to afford a great player like me. But no, I kid. But they
No, you meant that. You said it with your chest.
I always consider myself the best wide receiver 3 in the league, but now I'm a wide receiver 2. I can live with that. And but no, it just never worked out. But it was funny. The first team that I reached out to was actually Jacksonville. I think Christian Christensen was one of the first people that I talked with about possibly being a non-contract, and then the next team was Arizona, and it just kind of rolled from there. And man, it turns out it's probably was the best route for me. I'm glad I went that route. I've met some of my best friends in this league that were off that season 14 team. Yourself, Eddie, Brian Dynasty, TJ Punk. I mean, it was a great locker room, some great guys. Was Anthony Weil on that team? I'm not sure. Maybe that was a year before. Maybe the season before, season 13. It was season 14.
I think Wayo was on the team with you, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, season 14. Yeah, Wayo was on that team. Tanner Hendricks, who I'm, both of these guys are in London now. So, but yeah, some of my best relationships in this league came off of that team. So it was just the right team, right place, right time, everything.
Awesome, man. I'm glad that we were able to kind of make that transition into the league, special for you. And we're glad to help you with that, man.
We didn't win anything, but we but we were, we were trying. We were trying. Yeah, we were, we were what we were. We were a new franchise, but hey, one thing I did know about that team, I mean, everyone was growing. I mean, it was, Eddie basically stripped it down to the way that he wanted it and got the bills together that he wanted. And I kind of figured this past season would be the season that you guys would finally take a step forward, and you did. And man, and if not for some unfortunate circumstances there late in that Denver game, who knows how that season would have gone for you guys.
That doggone Riley Quintero. No. All right.
Yeah, I know that's touchy subject in Arizona, so we'll leave that one alone right now.
No,
so, but yeah, that was actually an amazing game, and you guys had the perfect game plan to beat them. But man, I hurt for you guys because Arizona first in my heart, for sure. So I was right there with you guys.
After that game, I had a podcast to do, in of which I was with Bo, and I cared about that game so much that I actually just started crying because, like when you had it, and you lose it, it's just like, man. And Adam Wiseman, shortly after, I had the Denver podcast for their, thing.
Right.
And he told me something that actually kind of helped me feel better about the situation. He said that when they won against us, that it was a bittersweet moment. And I asked him what did he mean by that. He said, we were happy that we won, but we didn't want to do that to you guys in particular.
Right.
And I was like, oh man, at least that kind of took away the sting a little bit, but we could have been wearing the ring right now. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's going, hey, you never know. Seasons, we're progressing. We got some fun, we got some help on the scouting department with Will Todd, so we're gonna be making some noise this season.
Yeah.
Back to you with this, being finally getting on to the Jacksonville Kings.
Mm-hmm.
How was your time there, and what ultimately made you decide to leave to go to London?
I kind of knew this question was coming sooner or later.
Be careful.
I want to say that the time there was good. It wasn't bad. I'll say that it wasn't bad. And I do want to be careful a little bit, not and from the standpoint of I don't want to sound critical because I'm not really trying to be critical. It's some great guys in that locker room. Jack Wall, great locker room guy. Mike All, um, Christian Christensen. I mean, he was a vocal in that locker room quite a bit. He was a good voice in that locker room. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't a good fit for me. I mean, that's sometimes stuff doesn't work out. I was excited to be there in season 15 when I was drafted there, but season 16 just was a little indifferent for me. Root for my guys, wanted us to win, of course. Will support Jacksonville in whatever way I can, but I just think it just wasn't a good fit. And about the best example that I can give is like what I said about Arizona's locker room from season 14. I still contact quite a few of the people from that locker room quite often. I can't say that I have a relationship like that in particular with anybody in Jacksonville. Okay. And it's probably about as simple as that. And and moving on to London, it's just kind of night and day for me. I mean, it couldn't be better. Chad Rowland and I feel like we have a great relationship now. We talk often. I mean, just talk or speak, however you want to, verbally as well as communicating online. But it's just a night and day thing, and I just feel welcome and comfortable, and that's pretty much what it boils down to.
I understood. And Jacksonville actually they had a pretty decent season going 7-5, and
it was never about the wins and losses. I mean, obviously Jacksonville's made the playoffs, 9 seasons in a row. And so it wasn't about the wins and losses for me at the end of the day.
It's how well you gel together with the team. It's a comfortability thing. So I definitely understand.
It basically got to be a comfort thing, and a lot of people may ask, well, why leave when Ken Gossett retired? When obviously a wide receiver 2 position was there on the squad that I was on. It just boiled down to it was time to move on and explore different opportunities, and I'm totally happy with where I ended up landing.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the reason why Cam implemented a 1-season contract. Because it may not be as you may want to just explore what another locker room is.
Right.
Maybe you are trying to become an owner someday, and you want to be able to experience different locker rooms, so you want yours to be. I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. So as long as at the end of the day you happy with the decision that you make, London's happy, Jacksonville has already got who they need, so I'm sure they're happy in that regard. So everybody's gonna be just.
But I do have to be critical. I do have to be critical of the Arizona organization, though.
You see my eyebrow? What?
Well, all Eddie had to do was make one phone call. I probably would be a Scorpion by now, but but he didn't make the call. I understand why he didn't make the call, but he could have made the call. We could have talked about it. He could have given me a chance to say no.
Listen,
at least opportunity.
It's great that you mentioned.
Maybe I should go and say it with your chest and talk to him about it. I don't know, but
you know what? You should. A, B. He actually had a question for you specifically.
Oh, he did. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it reads as follows: do you accept Eddie's apology?
Oh.
He noticed that you have not said anything in regards to whether you have accepted his apology for, I'm not sure if it's in regards to not calling you or if it's something else, but he wants to know, why haven't you accepted his apology?
I don't remember him
specifically
apologizing, but Eddie and I are boys. I mean, we don't, when you're boys, you don't have to formally apologize or formally accept anything. Like, I mean, Eddie's been in my house, so tell you what, we'll fight it out over the convention or whenever he's here that Thursday informal meet and greet. We'll we'll hash it all out then. But no, it's definitely no hard feelings. I mean, nothing but love for Eddie, and like I said, and the whole Arizona organization. I'm just kind of poking fun at you guys, but I would have liked to have gotten that phone call. I sincerely would have liked to have gotten that phone call, because now, I mean, that it's, it's a signed deal. I told Chad, I'm like, man, I like everything that I'm hearing from you guys, but just let me, because you guys were still playing. You were still in the playoffs. I said, man, just let you know, you guys went from, because I think Chad mentioned this when he was on, you guys went from not on the list to pretty much the top of the list in a couple of conversations that we had. And I said, well, just let me wait until a certain team, and that's the way I worded it to him. I said, until a certain team, season is over, and we'll see what happens after that. Because I didn't want to commit to him. If Eddie made any type of phone call, it's no secret I probably would have signed in Arizona.
Yeah.
But hey, you guys, Will Todd, moving TJ Punk over. I mean, you guys will be just fine. But I mean, that's pretty much the truth. That's how it probably would have gone down.
Hey, and there's nothing wrong with that, man. There's nothing wrong with telling the truth. To be honest with you, it was definitely a hard choice. Mm-hmm. It really, really was. And you don't know how everything works out until it actually plays out. Yeah. But yeah, it would have been great having you back on the squad.
Hey, who knows what the future may hold? But I consider myself under a multi-season deal at this point.
Okay. Hey, Chad, we might have to borrow him for a few games. Just let you know. Don't be surprised.
Oh, there's no secret about that. I plan on being in London a few seasons.
But actually, no, I don't feel bad, because T-Roy, when Chad was with Baltimore, T-Roy was always trying to steal players. He was always trying to steal my players. So, no, I don't feel bad about it. Chad, you heard him. But no. But that's good stuff. That's good stuff. So okay, so if you want to talk about this, you can. Okay. If not, I understand. But I can't help this. And I'm so glad that you even agreed to be on the show, because I wanted to ask this. Does this have any significance to you? Mean anything to you? Can you tell me how to get to Sesame?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. You know what? I'll tell everyone listening, be careful about the things that you talk about when you're not on camera and someone's on your show, and and certain subjects start coming up. But you know what? I'll talk about it a little bit. I think I told you guys then. This probably was a behind the scenes convention conversation that we could probably have with people.
Well, if that's the case, that could be a teaser.
I'll say this, because I'll let you know. I just want the people to know somewhere where this passion for a sim sport comes from. I remember we had we have on guys like Charlie Beletsky and I want to say R.E. Mills, and maybe even Kevin. I may be getting someone confused, since that was a little while back. But these guys grew up in an era when we didn't have the resources as we do now, as far as being able to be on the internet and contact all these people, and having a game like the All Pro 2K and things like that. And like I said, I mentioned I'm 55 years old. I mean, we had zero resources, so we had to figure out a way to entertain ourselves back then. And like I told you guys back then, I mean, I was one of the first things I remember reading when I was 5 years old was the sports page every morning. I figured I would wake up and want to see the sports page and see what Astros were in the standings every day, or whatever the case may be. And but we had to figure out ways to entertain ourselves. And one of the ways I entertained myself was I created a football league out of Sesame Street characters. So yes, that Sesame Street song has definitely has brings back some juices and things like that. But it was my own personal little fantasy league where Ernie played against Bert and Big Bird played against Oscar the Grouch, and But if you want to know more, catch me after I've been drinking at the convention, and who knows what may come out.
I love it, man. Thank you. I was trying to debate on if I was going to even ask.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. I mean, we dealt with what we dealt with. Like I said, we created what we created back then. What we have, the electric football stuff and things like that. So yeah, that was a different age, different time. But my little creative mind figured out a way to do it with Sesame Street characters.
But that shows the dedication and the creativity that you have. Because there's nobody, or I would say there are very few people that were doing things on that level, even that young. So anybody that's listening that wanted you to be, scout or whatever, things like that, that shows the dedication that you have from the jump. So that's inside of you. So of course, whomever you're with London now, you're going to be a valuable asset to them because of what you've done in the past and things like that. So, but I'm glad you shared that with us. So what would you say? Because you're in the London locker room now. I know Chad told me that he was interested in rebranding, or not necessarily rebranding, that's not the right word. Kind of turning the locker room around because of things that have happened in the past. How do you think Chad is going to do that, especially since you guys are cool? And do you think that the addition of adding Johnny Pickner to the squad is going to help that? I mean, just knowing how he is, we all know about him.
Interesting question. But I think I can answer it this way. I think Chad, and let's say Liam and Benji and all the guys over there, Tanner. Like I said, I don't want to leave anybody out in this because it was definitely their recruitment process, and that's the way I kind of looked at it. It was definitely intentional. They went after the guys that they wanted to go after, and then that's one of the things that attracted me to London. I was pretty much probably outside of Johnny, the one guy that they targeted once they saw that I was on the free agent market. But it's a funny thing. I mean, we've only played a couple of preseason games, and it was kind of a doubleheader we did with Los Angeles last week. Back-to-back games, and just seeing what has come together on the field. Even though we haven't played an official game yet, I think they've already changed the culture in London. Not just because I'm on the team. Excuse me one second.
All right, I'll join you actually.
Not just because I'm on the team, but it felt different. It just because to me, coming in the league, like I said, season 14. London, I don't know if it's just me or for a lot of other people, they were an afterthought. I mean, it was like they literally felt like they were 6 hours away overseas, in my eyes, because they this couple seasons before, they only had a couple wins, season 14 and 15, and I think last season 16, 5 wins was the most wins they've ever had in franchise history. They've never made the playoffs, so on and so forth. And they were just kind of an afterthought team for me in my eyes. But just seeing us on the field in that couple of preseason games, scrimmages, it just felt different. It looked different. I mean, we had on our black uniforms, and we looked more menacing and intimidating, and and it just felt different. And I think Chad and Liam and everyone has accomplished at least what they wanted to accomplish off the field. Because if you think about it, I've heard the name London Knights mentioned more times this offseason probably than I have the whole time that I've been in this league. And so we've done that, like I said, behind the scenes and leading up to the season. So now we want to be on everyone's minds once season 17 gets started.
You will be. It's a shame we don't play each other though.
Well, we may meet you in the playoffs. Who knows? Because
Oh yeah,
I have a
because
strong
we.
feeling you guys will be there.
Oh yeah, we fully intend to be there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you shouldn't expect anything else. I mean, you should definitely want to build on that season last season. That no doubt about that. But we hope to be there. Talking about tough schedules. That's when I first saw that schedule. I'm like, man, wow, it's some tough opponents on there. Kicking that season off with Atlanta, they drafted a wide receiver. Is it Roosevelt? Ryan Roosevelt? Yeah, he seems like a player that's already ready to contribute. And one thing that really scares me about that is that Atlanta's going back to the three wide receiver set. I mean, I know Will Todd was a great guy for them and everything, but I just didn't think last season they were as effective running the two tight ends. Brian Dynasty had a kind of a setback year from being what was the offensive rookie of the year or whatever the season before. He just did not have the same type of season, but now he has three big weapons on wide receiver again and and the tight end and Jamal Wooding and BDG is BDG. So yeah, they're going to be a tough team to deal with, and great defense over there as well. So Atlanta's going to be tough. I mean, I look for them to possibly return to their championship form this season.
definitely. So what are your thoughts on Marcus Dunhill going over to help out Jacksonville Kings, because he retired as MVP in Atlanta and did DDP for a season and just like, no, I had to have that itch. I got to get back. But he went to Jacksonville. What do you think about that?
Well, it's going to be interesting because I know he regressed back to a silver. He's actually replacing some huge shoes. Christian Christensen, just voted into the Hall of Fame this past offseason. It's going to be an interesting transition for Jacksonville, and not only just for Marcus. At one point, I kind of figured, Jacksonville's kind of retooling a little bit, but then once I saw the draft and how many draft picks they actually had, this is a slight rebuild for them, and it's going to be interesting to see how they grow together. I mean, Marcus is not going to take that long, to get his player back up to speed, but it's going to be interesting to see how they approach this season. I know they're going to want, just because of the way we played last season. When I was in Jacksonville, Jared Willis did not have a great season up to, according to his standards. Only had one 100-yard rushing game all season long. But if you look at that draft, I mean, they drafted 3 linemen, so they're going to be very intentional about getting him, back involved in that offense. But it's going to be interesting over there in Jacksonville. See how Marcus progresses after being off for two seasons, retired as the MVP and an SFL champion. So he couldn't be going to a better, organization as far as a team that's ready to win and used to winning. But it's just going to be interesting to see how he meshes in and grows with the rookies that they have and their game plan going into this season.
All right. Fantastic. I got about 3 more questions for you.
Okay.
So you and Cam seem to have this chemistry that is pretty much unmatched by any other pair I've seen. So tell me, okay, because I got his side of the story when he was on. And I want to know your side of it. How did that conversation even come to pass? And what is Cam like as a co-host?
Oh, wow. Well, you see the smile immediately when you mentioned his name. The smile immediately came to my face. But well, pretty much, how he told it is how it pretty much started. And those who didn't hear it, here it goes. Basically, Cam, I can't remember if he put it out in general or league news or how we put it out, but I know he was looking for a studio host for season 16, and I think he said he preferred not to have one of the people that are already on broadcast because he didn't want to pull them from what they were doing and things like that, and it just kind of made me, when I read it, it kind of made me say, I think that would be something I would be interested in, mainly because I'm like, man, I'm watching most of the games anyway. I watch a lot of SFL when the season starts out, because I was scouting in Jacksonville. But aside from that, I just watch the games in general, just from pure entertainment. I mean, I watch more SFL the past year, calendar year, than probably I watched NFL football. But so I'm like, man, you know what? I like talking about sports. I love the league. Why not just throw my hat into the ring? And actually, when I contacted him, I'm thinking in my head, I mean, a million people have contacted Cam about this already. And so when I contacted him, I'm like, man, I'm not sure, who all has contacted you, but I think I would be interested in doing this, the studio show. And he was like, well, to my surprise, he was like, no, you're the first one. And so we messaged a couple of times, and then I think we actually talked on the phone. And as he mentioned, he asked me what type of equipment do I have. I'm like, nothing. I don't have anything. I'm not a big tech savvy guy. I don't have a webcam. I don't have a mic. I don't have anything. So that was step one. But I'll say this: what I think our comfort level with one another was pretty instant. Not, probably not to where it grew to during the course of the season, but it was like this weird thing to where I felt like Cam trusted me from the very start, and that was pretty cool. And one thing that always got me was that he didn't coach me heading into anything. It just felt like he trusted what I was gonna do or say was gonna be the right thing to do or say. If that makes any sense.
It does.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have that instant chemistry with someone that you can't really explain. Almost like kindred spirits in a way, but it sometimes things absolutely happen for a reason.
Yeah.
And I can't see him doing the show. I mean, maybe with a few other people, and he actually has, and they did a fantastic job. But it is a certain chemistry that both of you guys have, the way you're able to play off of each other. Almost like when you're looking at listening to the broadcast team, you can tell which pairs work really well together because they can kind of complete each other's sentences or know exactly the cadence of each other.
Right.
Which is also important. So, and Cam is a really good.
Yeah, I was going to say the other part I didn't answer about that was I knew it was something I was missing was what is he like behind the scenes?
Yes.
Well, I'll say this, and I totally understand it. Cam is a perfectionist. I mean, he wants everything to be done and presented the right way, the correct way. He wants things done correctly. You wouldn't believe how much of a perfectionist this guy is behind the scenes, and that's what impresses me the most about him. But and he's also funny behind the scenes. I mean, we think about it. Season 16, what is it? 12-week seasons. I missed a couple of weeks, of course, but you think about. We usually sit down in the broadcast booth together around 11 o'clock my time, and we typically didn't leave the broadcast booth with one another until maybe 9-10 o'clock at night after we've watched all the games, and then we do the wrap-up show and things like that. I mean, you could just imagine some of the things that were probably said behind the scenes, and like I said, it just kind of grew to that, but it was always this certain weird comfort level from the very beginning, and it's been cool. It's been a cool ride. I mean, look, I spent Valentine's Day with the guy, all day.
That's special.
All day with this guy on Valentine's Day, but thank God for my wife. It could be, being so understanding that, hey, you're going to be on this broadcast with this guy for 8-9 hours. So, but it's been cool. And looking forward to season 17. I won't be there unfortunately, for the first 2 weeks of the season, going on a little vacation and here in a couple weeks, but I'm going to be gone over the course of the both of the opening weekends. But we'll be back in the booth together, hopefully week 4, and go from there. But it's been a great ride. I'm glad that I reached out to him, and looking forward to a great season 17.
Fantastic. So what are, besides Atlanta, which is going to be your first game, what are some of the teams that you're most looking forward to playing this season?
Jacksonville.
Emphatic, Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing Jackson. I mean, I hope everyone in Jacksonville takes it, within the spirit that it's given. I just want to have fun, good time. But yeah, I do want to beat my old team. There's no ifs and ands, there's no doubts about that. But I'm looking forward to playing them. Looking forward to having a great game against them, and hopefully we'll come out with the victory when we meet.
Yeah, I wish we were playing. Like I said, I was alluding to this earlier, that I was hoping that we was going to play you, because it seems like every time Arizona plays London, y'all win. So we got to. That
would have been a good thing for us then.
No, it wouldn't. No,
because this is not going to be your grandpa's London Knights this season. So,
but you act like I'm afraid of that. You act like I'm. I don't care.
You just said you guys never win, so I'm just
listen. That was saying. Before we got everything together. Now we have things together, so we stand a chance. And the moment, and I see how your friend Cam is. The moment we get stuff together, oh no, can't have that. You're not playing London. You're not playing Tulsa. You're not playing none of that.
Right. Well, that's right. Tulsa's your old team. I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your first 2 seasons in Tulsa.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, there's nothing like going to go up against your old team. That's for sure. Or definitely a team that beats you all the time, and you want to finally get back at them.
Mm-hmm. Just saying. Yeah. Don't worry, we're just saving it for the playoffs when we beat y'all and make it to the next round.
Yeah, that'll make it even more better when we meet in the playoffs.
Fantastic, man. And so, do you have any future aspirations to own a team, or to coach a team, or to do anything else besides what you're doing? The scouting.
Well, I'm not scouting in London this season, and that was one of the things that kind of Eddie hedged about. And I understand because I told him it's like I just mentioned. I mean, Saturdays and Sundays are 9-10 hour days just on air with Cam, and that's a lot. And that's a lot to dedicate to the league. And don't get me wrong, happy to do it. So that's why no scouting right now. But like I said, could have been possible. But no, that takes a lot of my time, to be honest with you. And we do midweek interviews. I don't know if people realize the interviews that they saw. Those are recorded during the week when Cam and I, have a little time to do those ahead of time. So and keeping up with the league, so I won't look like some airhead on air to not knowing what I'm talking about, with these players and things like that. So that takes up a lot of time, and I have another hobby that I'm kind of big into right now. So balancing all that would be tough with scouting or anything like that. But as far as owning a team somewhere in the future, yeah, I mean that's some consideration. And I know that's a dream of a lot of players in this league. And with that, what I do realize is comes a lot of responsibility. And it probably would be something that I would look at considering somewhere down the road if the opportunity presented itself.
Okay, fantastic. Last question. How did you handle the COVID situation? When everything was shut down for a while, especially with you having the food truck, with you doing all of that, how were you able to still cope with and even dealing with the by it being so heavy in Texas and everything like
that? Stayed in a lot, wow, that's an interesting question. We're still coping. I think we're still trying to cope to a certain extent. I mean, a lot of things have opened up, of course, but but are things the way they were before? An interesting question. I don't know how to answer that one. Probably not 100% back the way things were before. Things are different, but we were just like everybody else. So we coped the best way we could. We dealt with things the best way that we could. You know, things fell off for the food truck a little bit, but my wife was able to still go to work either here at home or at the office. But most, she did quite a bit of at home stuff. She was able to do that to keep working. So we just dealt with things day by day, like most of the American public did, or most of the worldwide population did. Just dealt with it day by day.
Good, because I know with some people it kind of affected them mentally. Some people it was affected physically because they actually caught it. So it's. I asked that question just to kind of, because I would say this is kind of a defining moment in history. Everybody will be able to relate to this one moment in some form or fashion.
Right.
So just kind of a, like, what were you doing? Kind of like the September 11th thing. What were you doing at that time? I was in high school at that time. You know what I mean? So.
But mostly during COVID, I've been sitting around getting COVID pounds put on for the most part. I mean.
Oh yeah, hey, I do too. Shoot,
that's what I've been doing mostly. I mean, just sitting around, probably eating a little bit too much. But other than that, it's been just a day by thing. Like like you said, it's mentally challenging. I mean, it's some people that have gone through some challenges doing this thing, and hopefully we'll all come out on the better side of this thing.
Clean on the other side. Absolutely.
Yep.
Mike, this was amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time out to hang out with me today. Of course, you ever want to come back on just to visit, just to shoot, I would say shoot this, but if you want, if you just have some announcements that you want to thing, or if you want to just get some stuff off your chest, I'm always here for you, brother. Okay.
No doubt about it, and thanks for having me on, and I'll definitely be back on, and it won't take a year and a half to get back on. So thanks for having me. It's been great being on with you. And look, the next time though, I want to see the fro the next time. I know that's your style for the show, but I love the fro. I got to see the fro, man. That's just my thing.
Listen. I promise you I will. It was just my fro was not cooperating today. If I'm picking and I'm patting and this side is down and this side, no, you're not doing it. Well,
I'll say this. If you ever back on the studio show, the fro's got to be flowing just like it was last time. That's the fro zone. You cannot come on the studio show without the fro. How about that?
I promise you I will.
Sounds great.
Great. I cannot let you go without giving you the last word. So that can be a song, that can be a poem, or that can be a simple shout out. Right now, floor is yours, Mike.
Well, it won't be a song or a poem, that's for sure.
Dang it, man! Why y'all keep doing this?
Well, you know what? What I should have done, if I would have thought this through, I would have had my theme music ready to play, but we'll save that for the next visit. But I just want to shout out to everyone in the SFL, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys here in Houston in a couple of weeks. Those of you that are able to make it over to the house for the very informal meet and greet, because I know some people ask what their attire is like. Yeah, come as you are, casual, shorts, flip. I don't care what you come in, but I'm looking forward to seeing each and every one of you that are going to make it down, showing you some Houston hospitality, and I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
I'm looking forward to meeting your beautiful wife.
Yeah.
And I have some questions for her. Like, how do you put up with him being gone away for 9 hours? Well, technically you're not gone. You're still there.
Yeah.
And anything that'll keep you, keep you in the house, it's not too bad, So.
Well, the question for her is, how does she put up with me in general, let alone being... Oh. Yeah, that's Cam. We met down at Galveston this off season as well. I mean, I'm kind of a handful every day.
He did mention that. He said he doesn't know how your wife do.
So that'll be a good question for her. How does she put up with me in general? But
will do. All right, Mike. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you.
Hey, Ashley, thanks for having me. Good luck season 17, girl.
You too. I'll see you
Alrighty.
in the playoffs.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.